Sometimes I catch myself thinking, nothing has even happened yet, and I'm already disappointed in myself. I haven't said a word, and that voice in my head starts, "You messed it up again. No one cares. You're a failure." That voice doesn't come from outside. It's not a stranger. It's me. Or more precisely, the part of me people call the inner critic. For a long time, I thought that voice was just my discipline. That if I stopped pushing myself, I'd get lazy, unmotivated, I'd fall apart and stop doing anything at all. So I believed that inner critic was useful. It kept me on edge. It didn't let me relax. But over time, I realized something. It wasn't helping me move forward. It was just draining me. I started noticing how I'd avoid even the smallest tasks, because I already knew what the voice would say. "You'll do it wrong anyway. It's pointless. Don't even try." That was the moment I finally stopped and asked myself, why am I speaking to myself in a way I wouldn't let anyone else speak to me? I was tired of feeling like I had to explain myself to everyone, even to myself. So I decided to do something about it. I realized the inner critic isn't a monster. It's not an enemy I need to destroy. It's just a voice that once, genuinely, tried to protect me. It showed up when I felt vulnerable, when I needed to survive, be good, fit into someone else's expectations. In childhood, at school, in relationships, it helped me avoid mistakes, stay out of trouble, avoid being laughed at. But now I'm grown, and that voice is still there. Only now it's no longer protecting me. It's holding me back. It doesn't attack my ideas. It attacks me. It doesn't say, "This idea needs work." It says, "You are not good enough." That's not guidance. That's pressure. So I started trying something else. Not fighting it. Not trying to block it out. But actually listening to what it's saying and translating it into something I can use. When it tells me, "This is garbage. No one cares," I pause and ask, what am I afraid of? What's making me anxious right now? What can I improve? I stop hearing just the shouting. I start hearing the message underneath. If it says, "You're not ready, you'll embarrass yourself," I translate it to, "Okay, I feel unprepared. Let's go over this again before we move forward." That's when the real work on myself began. I no longer wanted to feel like I was constantly blaming myself for everything. And then I realized something even more important. The inner critic doesn't always lie. Sometimes it says things we actually need to hear, but it wraps them in shame, in fear, in pressure. So we tune it out and miss the part that could have helped us grow. Now I try to translate that voice. From the language of fear to the language of care. From shame to clear, simple steps. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm trying. Because I don't want to start every day by going to war with myself. I don't want to be afraid of my own thoughts. I can't say I've beaten that voice. But I can say I'm not afraid of it anymore. It still talks. Sometimes it's loud. Sometimes it throws me off. But it doesn't make the decisions anymore. I do. The tricky part? That voice doesn't always sound cruel. Sometimes it sounds smart, reasonable. It pretends to be realism. It says, let's face it, you're not good enough. Be honest, you're not ready. Why bother? No one will care. But really? That's still fear, just dressed up in logic. Before you even figure out what you truly want, it's already put out the fire. Sometimes it manages to kill any desire. Before you even realize you had it. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it's calm. Too calm. Like a quiet whisper that shuts everything down. And so you don't make mistakes. But you don't grow either. You don't try. That's the real loss. Then I saw something else. A lot of what that voice says isn't even mine. It's the voice of parents, of teachers, of someone who shamed me years ago. Words I heard when I was too young to fight back. And now they've been recorded. And the tape plays automatically. And the longer it plays, the harder it is to tell it's not even me. When I hear you're not capable, it might not even be my own belief. It could just be a ghost, a leftover voice that I never gave myself permission to erase. So my goal now, not to fight it, but to replace it, to speak with my own voice, to learn what I actually think. Because here's the real trap. The inner critic is always first. It jumps in before you even think. You start wondering about something, and it's already yelling, "Nope, stupid, don't do it." It's fast, it's loud, it sounds sure of itself. But what about your voice? What about your thoughts? This isn't a fight. This is about attention. It's about learning to listen. Not just to the loudest thought, but to your real one. So thank you. Thank you for being here, listening, sitting with this. If you felt like even part of this connected with something inside you, then this conversation was already worth it. In the next video, I'll try to tie everything together. Why do we even have an inner critic? Why does it sound so different in each of us? And how does it actually shape our behavior? If you want to understand yourself better, don't miss it. And if you didn't see the last video, start there. It all connects. This isn't a show, it's a journal. And if you're here, you're already part of the journey.